Commander Nak Vorex stared at the glowing data screen, his mandibles clicking together in a rhythm his species considered nervous laughter. To human eyes, the sound might have resembled dry bones rattling. "You cannot be serious," he muttered to no one in particular. The observation reports scrolled across the screen, each line more baffling than the last. For nearly 7 decades, the Galactic Alliance had monitored Earth, curious about the primitive species that had split the atom without blowing themselves into extinction. By most metrics, humanity should have destroyed itself long ago, and yet they endured. Nak leaned closer, his 4-eye stalks swiveling in different directions, replaying the latest footage captured by Observation Unit 12. The screen showed a cluster of humans in a place called a park. Adult specimens, fully grown, fragile-looking bipeds, were chasing smaller ones across a field of green grass. The smaller humans stumbled, shrieked, fell into puddles, and produced vocalizations so loud they made Nak's auditory membranes ache. Lieutenant Praxa entered the observation deck, her antenna twitching with amusement. "Commander, the Council demands your preliminary assessment of human vulnerabilities." Nak swiveled his eye stalks toward her. "Tell them I need more time." "You have been saying that for 3 orbital cycles," she replied with mock patience. "The High Admiral grows impatient." "The High Admiral can stuff his impatience into his posterior breathing tube," Nak snapped, then instantly regretted the outburst. He clicked his mandibles in apology. "Forgive me, Lieutenant, but these humans, they make no sense." Praxa tilted her head, studying the screen. "What are the adults doing?" "They call it playing," Nak said grimly. "Watch." The footage zoomed in. A tiny human fell to the ground with a thud, producing an ear-splitting wail. Almost instantly, 3 adult humans abandoned their activities and rushed toward the small one, their faces twisted with urgency. "Fascinating," Praxa whispered. "Exactly," Nak said. "These creatures are fragile. By all logic, they should preserve their own safety. And yet I have observed human females lifting transport vehicles 12 times their body mass to rescue their young. Temporary super strength triggered by distress. It defies reason." Praxa's antenna twitched. That could be useful intelligence for the Council. Nak clicked his mandibles softly. "Useful or catastrophic, watch further." The footage shifted to a different scene. A schoolyard filled with children. Small humans shouted, ran in circles, and scribbled on the ground with chalk. To alien eyes, their behavior looked defective, almost as if the young units had faulty programming. They collided with each other, stuffed non-food items into their mouths, and made bizarre noises. "They appear defective," Praxa observed bluntly. And yet, Nak's voice dropped to a whisper. "Their adults protect them with their lives. They call it love. The Council calls it weakness. I believe it is both." 3 solar cycles later, Nak found himself crouched behind foliage near one of these schools, his exoskeleton twisted into uncomfortable contortions. The camouflage device shimmered, rendering him nearly invisible to human eyes, though he dared not move when they passed close. "Commander, status report." Praxa's voice buzzed softly through the communicator. "Currently observing the cub collection point," Nak whispered. "Adult humans deposit their young here each morning. They often display distress at separation." "Distress, the adults or the cubs?" "Both observe." A large yellow transport vehicle screeched to a halt, its side opening like a hinged carapace. Dozens of small humans spilled out, their shrill vocalizations stabbing at Nak's ears. One female dropped a colorful container, spilling its contents. Her face crumpled in distress. Almost instantly, an adult rushed forward, soothing her, collecting the spilled items and wiping away tears. "They have a near telepathic ability to detect cub distress," Nak muttered. "They abandon all tasks to address it, inefficient, illogical." "And yet effective," Praxa replied. Nak sighed through his spiracles. "I will need more evidence. The Council does not believe me. They want vulnerabilities, but I keep finding paradoxes." In the town of Pinehaven, population 3,742, another human carried his own burden of paradoxes. Daniel Reeves, 38, ex-soldier, single father, stood outside the chain-link fence of Pinehaven Elementary, coffee cooling in his hand. His daughter Lily waved from the playground, clutching her lunchbox with the seriousness only an 8-year-old could muster. "Have a good day, Bug," Daniel called. She smiled, then vanished into the throng. He lingered, as he always did, combat had left him scars both visible and invisible, and though he'd faced gunfire and firestorms, nothing unsettled him like the sight of his little girl walking away. He told himself she was safe, that schools in small mountain towns were the safest places in the world. And yet, the habit of vigilance never left. His eyes scanned the horizon, noting movement, vehicles, patterns, old instincts never entirely dormant. Something always told him to watch. That something was about to prove right. Above Pinehaven, cloaked shuttles hovered in the thin mountain air. Inside one, Nak Vorex's mandibles clicked with dread as orders scrolled across his command console. Operation Cub Snatcher, Initiate. Nak stared at the words as though they were poison. He had warned the council. He had told them again and again, threatening human cubs would not produce compliance but retaliation. Unified, furious retaliation. And still the orders came. Praxa's wings buzzed with tension. Commander, teams are ready. Sedative gas prepared. Target Group C, intermediate age cubs, 20 specimens. Nak closed all four eyes for a long moment. The council had dismissed his warnings as cowardice. Now he was left with an impossible choice: defy his orders and face immediate replacement, or obey and unleash chaos. Remind all teams, he said heavily, non-lethal methods only. Any harm to the cubs or adults will result in disciplinary action. Praxa hesitated, understood. Nak's mandibles clicked nervously as the shuttles descended, their cloaking fields shimmering against the darkening sky. Below, Pinehaven Elementary bustled with the careless joy of children. Chalk drawings sprawled across asphalt, swings creaked, voices rang. And then, without warning, the school's ventilation system hissed. A mist curled through the hallways. Teachers collapsed at their desks. Children slumped in mid-play, their laughter cutting off mid-breath. The extraction teams moved with chilling efficiency, sweeping through corridors, selecting cubs of the designated age, and carrying them away. From the playground fence, Daniel Reeves dropped his coffee as he saw Lily vanish into the fog. His soldier's instincts roared awake. "What the hell?" he whispered, vaulting the fence. Nak's communicator crackled. "Extraction complete," came the cold voice of the team leader. "Subjects secured, en route to holding facility." Nak stared at the data feed. 20 cubs unconscious, strapped to gurneys. And one of them was Daniel Reeves' daughter. Nak's mandibles clattered in dismay. The galaxy was about to learn a terrible lesson. And Pinehaven was already waking up. The silence after the mist was the most terrifying thing. Daniel Reeves tore through the school's front doors, heart hammering, lungs burning. A few children lay slumped in the hallway, their bodies limp but breathing. Teachers sprawled across desks and linoleum, chalk still clutched in their hands. The air reeked of something metallic and sweet, like ozone laced with anesthetic. "Lily," Daniel's voice cracked against the walls. No answer, only the faint hiss of vents and the pounding in his ears. He bent to check a boy on the floor, pulse strong, pupils normal, alive, just unconscious. Relief mingled with dread. Whoever had done this hadn't come to kill. They had come to take. Boots thudded behind him. A teacher's aide stumbled forward, coughing, eyes wide with terror. The kids," she rasped. Someone took them." Daniel felt ice crawl up his spine. He spun toward the playground doors, racing outside. The swings swayed emptily. Chalk drawings stared up from the pavement like forgotten sigils, and Lily, his Lily, was gone. Above, the cloaked shuttles banked toward the mountains, invisible against the deepening dusk. Inside, Commander Nak Vorex sat rigid, mandibles clattering in a rhythm of dread. "Subjects secured," the extraction team leader reported, 20 unconscious human cubs strapped into containment pods. "No resistance after gas deployment. Operation proceeding smoothly." Smoothly, Nak almost laughed, a dry, broken sound. Nothing about this was smooth. Every instinct screamed disaster. Praxa hovered at his side, antenna twitching. "Commander, you should be pleased. Minimal collateral damage, no fatalities. The Council will commend you." "Commend me?" Nak spat, his mandibles snapping. "For what? Kidnapping children? I warned them this would end in blood." Praxa tilted her head, puzzled. "But they are only cubs, primitive, noisy, inefficient. Why should this species care so much?" Nak's eyes swiveled toward the containment feed. Small bodies lay curled in pods, chests rising and falling in steady rhythm. Fragile, defenseless. And yet, the adults of this species would burn the galaxy for them. He knew it. Because, Knack whispered, they love them, and that love is both their weakness and their strength. By the time Daniel Reeves stumbled back into the sunlight, the first alarm was already sounding. Sirens wailed from the fire station down the street. Parents rushed toward the school, panic etched into every face. "They're gone," a teacher screamed. "Some of the kids just gone." Daniel grabbed her shoulders. "How many?" 20, maybe more. They just vanished." The words crashed over Daniel like shrapnel. His vision tunneled. Lily was among them, he knew it. He forced himself to breathe, soldier instincts kicking in. Panic was the enemy. He scanned the scene. Hysterical parents clung to their remaining children. Teachers tried to form explanations from fragments. Police cars screeched up, lights blazing. Officers spilled out, hands on radios, faces pale. One look at the chaos told Daniel everything. The local force was overwhelmed. He pulled his phone, dialing with shaking hands. A familiar voice answered on the second ring. "Colonel Jordan Reeves." Daniel closed his eyes. His brother's voice was steady as bedrock. "Jordan, it's Pinehaven. Something's wrong. The school Lily's gone." A pause, then Jordan's voice sharpened into steel. "Tell me everything." Back aboard the observation shuttle, Knack paced, mandibles clicking with agitation. The console glowed with new alerts. Human emergency vehicles were converging on the school. Communication networks lit up with distress signals. "They are reacting quickly," Praxa noted. "Faster than projections." "Of course they are," Knack hissed. "You don't understand. Humans may squabble, may fight among themselves, but threaten their cubs. You will see unity like nothing else in this quadrant." Praxa frowned. "Unity from primitives? Commander, forgive me, but their technology is centuries behind ours. They burn fossilized matter for energy. They cannot touch us." Knack turned on her, all four eyes burning. "You think strength is only in machines? Then you have learned nothing. Watch." He tapped the console. The surveillance feed shifted, showing Pinehaven from above. Already dozens of vehicles clustered around the school. Police established a perimeter. Parents formed search parties, voices echoing across the fields. Phones buzzed, transmitting frantic calls. Within hours, the entire town would know. And within days, the entire planet. Colonel Jordan Reeves stood in the Pentagon War Room, surrounded by screens and brass. His brother's call had already reached the highest levels. 20 children missing. Witness reports inconsistent, chaotic. Gas, figures in the mist, shadows that vanished into thin air. "Extraterrestrial," a general muttered, almost unwilling to voice the word. Jordan's jaw tightened. "You've seen the same satellite data I have. Anomalous signatures appeared over Pinehaven less than an hour before the incident. Not Russian, not Chinese, not anything we know." Another general leaned forward. "And you're suggesting—" "I'm suggesting," Jordan said grimly, "that something not of this earth just kidnapped American children." The room fell silent. One civilian advisor whispered, "If that's true, then God help them." Jordan shook his head. "No, God help whoever took them." On the alien vessel, the cubs stirred. The sedative wore thin. Small voices rose in confusion. "Where are we?" "It's cold. I want my mom." Knack winced. The sound stabbed at his membranes worse than any weapon. He turned away from the feed. "Commander," Praxa said softly, "they are awake." Knack's mandibles clattered. "Secure them, do not harm them, and for the love of the stars, do not underestimate them." The feed showed one cub, a boy with bright red hair, already tugging at his restraints, testing the seams. Another whispered encouragement. A girl wiped tears from her eyes, then began whispering to the others, organizing them. Praxa tilted her head. "They cooperate." Knack nodded grimly. "Always, that is what makes them dangerous." Back in Pinehaven, night fell under a sky alive with searchlights and helicopters. The town had transformed into a staging ground. Volunteers combed the woods with flashlights. State police erected roadblocks on every highway. The governor declared a state of emergency. And then at 2:14 a.m., every phone in America lit up at once. "Amber Alert, 20 children abducted, national security event." The alert spread across television screens, radios, digital billboards. Within minutes, the planet knew. Daniel Reeves sat on the curb outside the school, head in his hands. His phone buzzed endlessly with messages, news updates, warnings. His brother called again. "We've confirmed it," Jordan said. "Unidentified craft, anomalous readings, cloaking signatures. It wasn't human." Daniel's heart clenched. "Then bring them back." "We're mobilizing everything. But Daniel, listen to me. If these things are what we think, this won't be a normal rescue." Daniel lifted his head, eyes burning. "I don't care if it's angels or devils. They have my daughter. I'm not stopping until she's home." Inside the command shuttle, Nack's console screamed a warning. "Commander," Praxa cried. "Multiple high-velocity projectiles inbound. Humans are firing blind into the sky." Nack's mandibles clicked furiously. "Already we are cloaked." "They don't care," Praxa shouted. "They are firing at everything." The shuttle rocked violently as an explosion bloomed nearby, rattling the hull. Sparks showered across the control panel. Nack clutched the controls, heart racing. "I told you," he growled. "When it comes to their cubs, humans abandon all reason. They will tear the sky apart to get them back." Another blast shook the shuttle, alarms wailing. Cloaking fields flickered. The hull groaned. Praxa's compound eyes widened. "Commander, they've already found us." The council chamber of the Galactic Alliance glittered like a jewel in the void. Thousands of light years from Earth, emissaries of 87 species hovered in tiered circles, their voices a chorus of hisses, clicks, growls, and harmonics. At the center, the high emissary Trox unfurled his ceremonial robes, six-eye stalks narrowing with disdain. "Commander Nak Vorex," his voice boomed, carried on artificial harmonics that translated across languages. "Your endless observations have produced nothing but caution and delay. The Council requires actionable intelligence on human vulnerabilities." Nak stood rigid on the projection platform, mandibles clattering. "I have submitted my findings, emissary. The humans' greatest vulnerability is also their greatest strength, their cubs." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some emissaries buzzed with interest, others with impatience. Trox raised a limb for silence. "You claim that by targeting the offspring of these primitives, we risk disaster." "Yes," Nak's voice rang firm despite the knot in his gut. "Their irrational protectiveness triggers unpredictable aggression. They will not submit. They will fight no matter the odds." Trox's mandibles clicked with derision. "Nonsense. They burn dead matter for energy. They still poison their own atmosphere, and you suggest they pose a threat to the Alliance." Nak spread his arms, a human gesture he had picked up. "They are unpredictable. That is what makes them dangerous." The chamber erupted into debate. Voices rose and overlapped. Some emissaries demanded tests. Others dismissed Nak's warnings. At last, Trox cut through the chaos. "The Council has voted," he declared. "Operation Cub Snatcher will proceed. 20 specimens have already been acquired. Commander Vorex, you will oversee the test. Success will mean commendation. Failure—" Trox let the word hang, heavy as a blade. Nak's exoskeleton tightened in dread. He had tried to warn them. Now he was trapped in an experiment he knew would spiral into catastrophe. On the surface of Earth, catastrophe was already unfolding. Colonel Jordan Reeves stood in the Pentagon Command Center, staring at screens alive with data. Global alerts flashed. Satellite feeds tracked strange anomalies darting across the atmosphere. Civilian phones rang off the hook with sightings. Lights in the sky, shadows in the clouds, whispers of aliens. A junior officer rushed forward. "Sir, international lines are buzzing. Russia, China, the EU all demanding answers." "Tell them we don't have any," Jordan said grimly. "And tell them to stand by for coordination. This isn't a national incident anymore, it's global." The word global tasted like iron in his mouth. 20 children taken, and the entire world was already on edge. One wrong move and panic could consume nations. His thoughts flickered unbidden to Daniel, his stubborn younger brother, who was even now prowling Pinehaven's perimeter searching for Lily. Jordan clenched his fists, if Daniel did something reckless. But then what father would? In the holding facility hidden deep within a mountain forest, 20 human cubs stirred awake. The chamber was circular, climate-controlled, with individual sleeping pods around the perimeter. Nutrient dispensers glowed softly. The aliens had tried to design it for comfort, but comfort meant nothing to frightened children. Lily Reeves rubbed her eyes, blinking at the strange walls. "Where are we?" she whispered. Beside her, Tyler, the red-haired boy, pulled against his restraints. Not home, that's for sure. Don't freak out, okay? We'll figure something out. Mia, a curious girl with a bracelet of dangling charms, chewed her lip. Those things, they weren't people. They had claws and too many eyes. They're aliens, Zach said flatly. Like in the movies, my dad said if aliens ever come, they'll want to study us. Or eat us, another boy muttered. Lily shook her head fiercely. They wouldn't have kept us alive if they wanted that. My dad always says people don't risk this much trouble unless they need something. Tyler's eyes narrowed. Then we don't make it easy for them, we stick together. The children nodded, fear flickering into fragile courage. And then Tyler grinned. Operation Booger Monster begins. The kids burst into nervous laughter. Even Lily managed a small smile. Fear became lighter when it had a name. Back aboard the observation shuttle, Knack monitored the feed with grim fascination. The cubs weren't panicking as expected. They were organizing, whispering, scheming, already testing their environment. Praxa tilted her head. Commander, they are only children. Surely they pose no real danger. Knack clacked his mandibles. Do not underestimate them. Already they are forming teams, assigning roles. Look, those two distract while the smaller one investigates the ventilation shaft. Praxa frowned. Remarkable coordination. I thought cubs of this age were chaotic. They are, Knack said softly. And yet when threatened, chaos becomes creativity. They improvise. It is their nature. Praxa's antenna twitched uneasily. If the council learns of this. The council doesn't want to learn, Knack interrupted bitterly. They want compliance, not truth. In Pinehaven, Daniel Reeves refused to wait for truth. The town had transformed into a military zone. Humvees lined the streets. Helicopters circled overhead. Searchlights stabbed the night. Daniel pushed through soldiers and police, his voice hoarse from shouting. Lily, Lily. A captain stepped into his path. Sir, this is a restricted area. Daniel shoved past him. That's my daughter they took. The captain grabbed his arm, but Jordan Reeves appeared, uniform immaculate, eyes burning with controlled fury. Let him go, he's with me. Daniel turned on his brother. Where is she, Jordan? Where's Lily? Jordan's expression cracked just for a second. We don't know yet, but we will. The whole damn world is looking. Daniel's chest heaved. The world doesn't care about Lily, I do. Jordan gripped his shoulders. Listen to me, if you go off half-cocked, you'll get yourself killed, and that won't bring her back. Daniel swallowed hard, but his soldier's instincts knew Jordan was right. Still, the fire in his chest burned hot. He would not rest, not until Lily was safe. Back at the holding facility, the cubs put their plan into motion. 3 older kids began a loud argument near the nutrient dispenser, shouting about chocolate pudding. The aliens monitoring the chamber leaned closer to their screens in confusion. What are they doing? One asked. Unknown, another replied. Meanwhile, Lily and Mia crouched near the wall. Tyler and Zach boosted them upward, forming a human pyramid. Small hands pried at the panel covering the ventilation shaft. A screw clattered to the floor. Hey, one alien scientist barked. They're tampering with the environment controls. Stop them, the director hissed. But before guards could react, Knack's voice cut through the comms. Belay that order. The guards froze. Commander, the director demanded, they'll escape. Knack's mandibles clicked with authority. No, they will not, but they will try, and in trying they reveal who they truly are, record everything. This is the evidence I need. His eyes lingered on Lily, her small face grim with determination. So fragile, so dangerous. Praxa whispered, you admire them. Knack exhaled through his spiracles, I fear them. That night, as the cubs plotted their next attempt, and Pinehaven bristled with soldiers, the council chamber echoed with emissary Trox's final decree. The test proceeds. Tomorrow we make demands of the humans. If they refuse, more cubs will be taken. Humanity will learn to submit. Knack's mandibles rattled with rage. Emissary, if you pursue this course, you will doom us all. Trox's eye stalks swiveled, cold and unyielding. Then you will oversee the doom, Commander, and history will judge you accordingly. Back on Earth, alarms blared in the Pentagon war room. Satellites tracked new anomalies rising from the ocean. Not one, but several cloaked vessels. Sir, an analyst cried, They're not retreating, they're bringing reinforcements. Colonel Jordan Reeves turned pale. Dear God, they're escalating. And in Pinehaven, Daniel Reeves looked to the sky, where a shimmer rippled against the stars. His gut clenched with instinct. They were coming back. For more children. The holding facility hummed with sterile efficiency. Panels glowed softly, vents breathed climate-controlled air, and nutrient dispensers buzzed at scheduled intervals. To its designers, it was a cage both humane and foolproof. To 20 human cubs, it was a challenge. Tyler crouched at the center of the chamber, fiery red hair catching the artificial lights. Okay, team, Phase 1 worked. They didn't stop us when we tested the vent panel. That means they're watching, they're curious. That's good. Or bad, Mia countered, hugging her charm bracelet close. Maybe they're waiting for us to slip up. Then we don't slip up, Tyler said firmly. We go bigger. The kids huddled around him, whispering plans with the seriousness of generals. They gave their plan a name, because names made scary things less scary. Operation Booger Monster. Even Lily Reeves, who missed her dad so much it hurt, smiled at the ridiculousness of it. Tyler had explained, scare M, trick M, confuse M, monsters work both ways. So they divided into squads, Team Stinky Feet, Team Fake Barf, Team Booger Monster itself, the distraction unit. It was nonsense, it was brilliant, it was human. From the observation deck, Nak Vorex watched with a mixture of awe and dread. Praxa tilted her head. What are they doing now? Nak's mandibles clattered. Organizing, distracting. Look, those three are pretending to argue over food, but it's a diversion. As the aliens leaned closer to their monitors, two smaller cubs wriggled toward the ventilation shaft again. The pyramid of bodies boosted them upward, small hands fumbling with screws. Praxa buzzed uneasily. Commander, this is chaos. No, Nak said, his voice tight. This is strategy. In Pinehaven, Daniel Reeves couldn't wait for strategy. Military convoys choked the roads. Spotlights scanned the skis. The town pulsed with tension, every parent's face a mirror of his own fear. And yet Daniel couldn't stand still. He cornered his brother outside the mobile command center. Jordan, listen to me. You're treating this like a conventional op, but this isn't conventional. They're not kidnappers, they're not terrorists, they're aliens. I know, Jordan's voice was steel, and that's why we can't just run in blind. Daniel's fists clenched. My daughter's out there, I can't sit and wait while you play politics. Jordan's eyes softened for half a second. I get it, Danny, but if you go rogue, you'll make it worse. Daniel leaned closer. Or I'll make it personal. You've got the Pentagon, I've got nothing but Lily, and I'll do whatever it takes. Jordan didn't answer. He didn't have to. Daniel saw the truth in his brother's silence. Back at the facility, Operation Booger Monster reached its crescendo. Tyler's squad launched their distraction with the subtlety of fireworks. They pelted each other with food packets, shouting about stolen pudding. Mia staggered dramatically, clutching her stomach, groaning about alien poison. Two younger boys faked a wrestling match so convincing one of the guards flinched. And in the chaos, Lily slid the last screw free. The vent panel clattered to the floor. Go, she hissed, shoving Mia upward. The smaller girl wriggled into the shaft, vanishing into the shadows. A second later, her voice echoed faintly. It's clear. The kids cheered too loud. The guards spun toward the sound. Alarms blared. Red lights flared across the chamber. Contain them, the director shouted. But Nak's voice thundered over the comms. Stand down. The guards froze, stunned. Commander, the director demanded, they're escaping. Nak's mandibles clattered like gunfire. No, they are proving everything I've said. Watch, record. This is the evidence the council refuses to see. On the monitors, Mia crawled deeper into the vent, her bracelet charms jingling softly. Behind her, Lily prepared to follow. Praxa whispered, Commander, if they escape. Nak cut her off. Then we will learn what happens when you cage human cubs, and perhaps the council will finally understand. At the Pentagon, alarms blared for another reason. Colonel Reeves, an analyst cried, we've intercepted anomalous transmissions from the mountains west of Pinehaven. Signals don't match any known military band. Cloaking signatures suggest a facility. Jordan leaned over the console. Then that's where they've got the kids. The analyst hesitated. Sir, Our drones barely survived approaching the perimeter. Their tech is beyond anything we've seen. We can't guarantee infiltration. Jordan's jaw tightened. Then we hit them anyway, full force. And silently, he thought of Daniel, who was probably already planning to do just that on his own. Inside the vents, Mia crawled forward, scraping her knees. The metal smelled strange, sharp, and oily. Behind her, Lily whispered encouragement. "We just have to get outside," Mia panted. "Find the others, find my mom." A sudden gust of air roared through the shaft, nearly knocking them backward. Ahead, a glowing grid flickered to life, alien tech sealing the vent. Mia gasped. They blocked it. Behind them, voices rose, guards swarming, alarms screaming. Lily's heart pounded. Then we find another way. The girls crawled backward, rejoining the others. Tyler's face was red with exertion, but his grin never faltered. Phase 2, then. "What's Phase 2? Zach demanded. Tyler puffed out his chest. "Make them underestimate us even more. If they think we're just dumb kids, they'll slip. And when they slip, we run." The children nodded. Their fear hadn't vanished, but something else had taken root: defiance. Knack watched it all, mandibles clicking in grim rhythm. Praxa's antenna drooped. They nearly breached the vents if they had more time. "They would have escaped," Knack finished. "And that is what the Council refuses to understand. These cubs, fragile and chaotic as they seem, are relentless. You can cage their bodies, but never their will." Praxa studied him. "Commander, are you beginning to sympathize?" Knack turned slowly, all four eyes burning. "Sympathy is irrelevant. Survival is not. If we continue, the humans will destroy us." In Pine Haven, Daniel Reeves made his decision. He slipped past the perimeter guards, blending into the shadows with the ease of a soldier who'd once survived behind enemy lines. His pack held little, just rations, a hunting rifle, and a photo of Lily. Every step into the mountains was a vow. If the military wouldn't bring her back, he would. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with anticipation. Reports of human mobilization spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Emissary Trox waved a limb dismissively. "Primitive panic. They may thrash, but they cannot touch us. Commander Vorex's hesitation has clouded judgment." A representative from the Vrellan species leaned forward, compound eyes narrowing. "And if he is right, if their irrationality makes them dangerous?" Trox sneered. "Then they will learn fear. The experiment continues. Tomorrow we take more cubs." Knack's recorded protests echoed unheard in the chamber, data feeds transmitting his warnings. But the Council had made its choice. And so had Knack. That night, as the children whispered plans in the dim glow of nutrient lights, as Daniel stalked through the darkened forest toward the alien facility, as Jordan prepared a full-scale assault, the first breach finally came. A siren blared inside the facility. Guards shouted. The observation feed lit up with alerts. "Commander," a technician cried, "the cubs, they've bypassed the internal locks." Knack's mandibles clicked sharply. "Impossible." The screen shifted, showing Tyler, Lily, Mia, and Zach standing proudly inside the control alcove of the containment chamber, having somehow hotwired the alien console. The security grid flickered, sparking. And then, with a crackle of static, every door in the facility hissed open. The cubs had hacked the system. The sirens shrieked like wounded animals through the alien facility. Scarlet light strobed across metallic corridors. Guards scrambled, mandibles clattering in panic, as doors hissed open one after another. Inside the containment chamber, 20 human children cheered in triumph. Tyler pumped his fist. "We did it." Zach stared at the sparking console in disbelief. "How did you even?" "Minecraft," Tyler said with a grin. "Circuits, switches, it's all the same, just bigger and scarier." Lily tugged at his sleeve. "They're going to come back, we can't stay here." "Right," Tyler said, his voice suddenly serious. "Phase 3 run like heck." The kids bolted into the open corridors, a ragged army of shoelaces, backpacks, and sheer determination. Commander Knack Vorex stormed into the control hub, mandibles clattering like gunfire. "Report." The director wrung his limbs nervously. "The cubs have overridden our locks. We don't understand how." "They improvised," Knack snapped. "They exploit flaws no algorithm can predict. That is their nature." Praxa's compound eyes widened as she watched the feed of children scattering through the facility. Commander, they're splitting up. That will make recapture difficult. Nak leaned over the console, watching Lily lead a small group down a side corridor. Her small face was set in grim focus, just like her father's had been in the surveillance feed. His spiracles exhaled a heavy sigh. Difficult? No, impossible. In the forest outside Pinehaven, Daniel Reeves crouched in the undergrowth, staring at the impossible. The alien facility rose from the ground like a jagged crystal, half camouflaged against the trees, humming with otherworldly power. Invisible to satellites, but here, in person, it shimmered faintly under moonlight. Daniel adjusted his rifle, every muscle coiled tight. His soldier's instincts screamed caution. His heart screamed Lily. He checked his compass. Military units were still an hour out. He didn't have an hour. He moved. In the Pentagon war room, Colonel Jordan Reeves barked orders as screens lit up with fresh data. Confirmed anomaly at Pinehaven coordinates. Multiple craft signatures detected. Enemy forces still cloaked but active. A general slammed his fist against the table. Then we hit them now, before they escalate. Jordan shook his head. We hit blind, we risk killing the children. We need precision. Colonel, the general snapped, the president has authorized force. Mobilize the strike team. Jordan's jaw tightened. He had sworn to protect his country, but this time it was more than his country at stake. His niece was out there. Inside the alien facility, chaos reigned. Children darted through corridors, ducking under limbs, hurling food packets as improvised projectiles. One group locked themselves inside a storage room, giggling as guards pounded uselessly at the sealed door. Another triggered sprinklers, filling the air with mist. And in the main control hub, Nak Vorex faced a choice. Praxa pointed at the feed, antenna trembling. Commander, containment has failed. The Council will blame you. We must recapture them by force if necessary. Nak's mandibles clattered furiously. No harm will come to them. That is an order. The director hissed. The Council's orders supersede yours if we cannot control these specimens. Nak whirled, 4 eyes blazing. Then I will. He stormed out, leaving stunned silence behind him. Daniel slipped through the facility's perimeter, marveling at how alien it all looked up close. The walls shimmered faintly, like glass fused with metal. He pressed his hand against it. It felt warm, alive. He spotted a vent, half open, and crawled inside. The air smelled sharp and wrong. He gritted his teeth, rifle slung across his back, and began the slow climb. Somewhere ahead, muffled voices echoed, high-pitched, familiar. Children. His heart pounded. In the labyrinthine corridors, Lily led Mia and 2 younger boys through twists and turns, every step fueled by instinct. She remembered hide-and-seek games with her dad. Never run straight, always zigzag. She ducked into a side alcove just as a guard clattered past, mandibles clicking in frustration. Mia grinned. Your dad's advice works even in space. Lily's eyes welled, but she nodded fiercely. He's coming for us, I know it. Back in the control hub, Praxa stared at the data feed, antenna quivering. Commander, we're detecting external breaches. Humans are approaching. The director gasped. Impossible, our cloaking. Does not matter, Nak interrupted, striding back in. His voice was low, grim. I told you, when their cubs are threatened, they will burn the sky itself. Alarms shrieked. Projectile inbound, a technician cried. Human aircraft launching strike. The room shook as the first blast rocked the facility. Dust cascaded from the ceiling. Sparks flared from consoles. The humans were here. Daniel heard the explosion, felt the vent shudder around him. He pushed forward faster, desperate now. Smoke filled the shaft. He coughed, crawled, forced his body through pain and fear. And then he heard it again. Voices, small and terrified, just ahead. Dad. His heart stopped. Lily. In the corridor below, Nak turned sharply as a human shape dropped from the vent in a cloud of smoke and sparks. The man landed in a crouch, rifle raised, eyes blazing with fury. For the briefest moment, alien and human locked eyes. Nak recognized him instantly, the soldier from the surveillance feeds, the father. And Daniel Reeves recognized, with gut-deep certainty, the creature who had taken his daughter. The world narrowed to that one moment. 2 protectors, 2 enemies, both desperate, both determined. The corridor lights flickered, as another explosion rocked the mountain. Daniel raised his rifle. Nak raised his forearms. And behind them, the children shouted, "Dad!" The corridor shook as another blast rippled through the mountain, sending sparks raining from the ceiling. Smoke curled through the air, choking and bitter. Daniel Reeves held his rifle steady, chest heaving. The alien loomed before him, taller than any man, green exoskeleton glistening, 4 arms spread wide. Its eye stalks swiveled independently, yet all of them fixed on him. "You," Daniel spat, his finger curled on the trigger. "You took my daughter." Nak's mandibles clicked, his translator weaving the sounds into English. "Yes, and I am trying to return her." Daniel blinked, rage almost overwhelming his reason. "Return, after you gassed her school, after you took her." "I warned my council this was madness." Nak's voice was low, urgent. "But they would not listen. Your cubs are not leverage, they are fire. And if we do not release them now, both our species will burn." Daniel's aim didn't waver. "Why should I believe a word out of your insect mouth?" Because at that moment, Lily's voice cut through the smoke. "Dad." Daniel's heart nearly stopped. He glanced right. There she was, small and trembling but alive, clutching Mia's hand. Her wide eyes glistened with tears. In that single glance, his choice shifted. He couldn't fire, not with her so close, not with stray bullets, ricochets, alien tech he didn't understand. Nak lowered his arms slowly. "We want the same thing, their safety, let me prove it." Another explosion rattled the corridor. Both man and alien staggered. Overhead, the walls groaned ominously. Praxa's voice crackled in Nak's earpiece. "Commander, the humans are breaching every perimeter. Their weapons are primitive but relentless. The facility will not hold." Nak exhaled through his spiracles. "Then we abandon it." Daniel narrowed his eyes. "Abandon it to what?" "To your people," Nak said grimly, "and pray they do not bury your cubs in the rubble." Outside, Pinehaven's mountains lit up with fire. Fighter jets streaked overhead, unleashing volleys of missiles. Helicopters roared between ridges, spotlights cutting the night. Armored convoys clawed up dirt roads, engines screaming. In the mobile command center, Colonel Jordan Reeves barked orders. "Ground units hold perimeter. Air units precision only. We've got children inside that facility." An operator shouted, "Sir, alien defenses are collapsing. We're punching holes through their shields." Jordan's chest clenched. They were winning, but were they in time? Inside, the children scattered like sparks from a fire. Tyler led half the group deeper into the facility, weaving through smoke-filled corridors. Mia and Lily stuck close, clutching hands so tight their knuckles whitened. "They're bombing us," Zach cried. "They're saving us," Lily said fiercely, even as her stomach twisted with fear. She trusted her dad, she knew he was coming. But the explosions came faster now, closer. Panels blew from the walls, spraying shards of alien alloy. The facility groaned like a dying beast. And then, out of the chaos, alien guards appeared, mandibles snapping, energy staves glowing. The children froze. "Back," one guard barked. "Containment protocol." Lily's heart pounded. They were trapped. Until a massive figure strode between them and the guards. Commander Nak Vorex. "Stand down," he thundered. The guards faltered, mandibles clicking nervously. "Commander, the council's orders." "Are irrelevant," Nak roared. "These cubs leave alive." The guards hesitated, torn between hierarchy and fear. Behind Nak, Daniel Reeves stepped from the smoke, rifle raised. "You heard him," Daniel growled. "Stand down, or I'll put holes in every one of you." The standoff held for a breathless moment. Then another explosion ripped the corridor apart. The ceiling caved partially, burying 2 guards in rubble. The rest scattered, chittering in panic. Dust filled the air. Alarms wailed. And in the middle of it all, alien and human stood side by side, shielding the children. Praxa's voice buzzed again in Nak's ear. "Commander, this is suicide. The Council has ordered extraction of the specimens at all costs. Reinforcements are inbound." Nak glanced at Daniel, then at Lily. The choice had already been made. "Cancel reinforcements," Nak snapped. "We are returning the cubs immediately." Praxa's antenna twitched audibly over the comm. "Commander, that is treason." Nak's mandibles clattered. "No, it is survival." The Pentagon war room erupted in cheers as operators shouted updates. Confirmed breaches. The alien facility's shields are down. Thermal scans, movement detected. Multiple small signatures could be the kids. Jordan Reeves slammed his fist on the console. Get my boots in there, now. But even as troops advanced, a fresh warning shrieked across the room. Sir, new signatures inbound. Orbital craft descending fast. Jordan's stomach dropped. The aliens weren't retreating, they were escalating. In the collapsing corridors, Daniel scooped Lily into his arms, clutching her like a lifeline. Her small arms wrapped tight around his neck, tears soaking his collar. I knew you'd come, she whispered. He kissed her hair, throat too tight to speak. Nak moved beside him, guiding the children with surprising gentleness, 4 arms shepherding them toward the exit. His compound eyes scanned constantly, calculating threats. Daniel eyed him warily. Why are you helping us? Nak's mandibles clicked softly. Because my counsel was wrong, your cubs are not weakness, they are strength, and if my people threaten them again, it will be the end of us. Daniel didn't answer. He didn't have to. The fire in his eyes was answer enough. They reached the facility's central chamber just as the ceiling gave a thunderous groan. Beams buckled. Lights flickered. Beyond the shattered wall, the night sky glowed with tracer fire. And then, out of the smoke, emissary Trox appeared. Flanked by armored guards, his ceremonial robes dragged across the ruined floor. All 6 of his eye stalks locked on Nak with venomous fury. Commander Vorex, Trox hissed, his voice amplified across the chamber. You dare defy the council. Nak straightened, mandibles rigid. I dare survive. Trox raised a clawed limb. Then you will die with them. The guards leveled their weapons. Daniel shoved Lily behind him, rifle raised. Nak stepped forward, 4 arms spread wide. The children huddled together, eyes wide with terror. And overhead, the facility's roof split apart as orbital craft descended, blotting out the stars. The chamber shuddered as alien reinforcements descended from orbit, their ships blotting out the stars. Spotlights pierced the night sky, beams cutting across Pinehaven's valley. The mountain roared with fire and steel. Inside the fractured facility, Daniel Reeves braced himself against a fallen beam, rifle steady. Beside him, Commander Nak Vorex loomed, 4 arms spread, mandibles rattling with defiance. The children huddled behind them, small faces pale in the flickering light. At the far end, emissary Trox advanced, robes dragging through dust, his armored guards leveling weapons. All 6 of his eyes burned with fury. You have disgraced the Alliance, Vorex, Trox hissed. You have allied with primitives. Nak's voice carried like thunder. I have allied with survivors. Trox's mandibles snapped. Kill them all, take the specimens. Weapons rose, and the world exploded into chaos. Human soldiers burst into the chamber from the opposite corridor, rifles blazing, their shouts echoing through the din. U.S. Army, get those kids out! Bullets and plasma bolts cut the air in streaks of light. Daniel shoved Lily toward the advancing soldiers. Go. She clung to him, eyes wide with terror. Dad. Go, he roared. She stumbled into the arms of a soldier who pulled her toward safety. Daniel turned back, rifle spitting fire. 2 alien guards fell, screeching, but more surged forward. Nak moved like a storm, 4 arms striking with lethal precision. He tore weapons from guards, slammed others into walls. His mandibles clattered with rage. Praxa, activate evacuation protocol now. Over comms, Praxa's voice buzzed, frantic. Commander, our shuttles are damaged. Then improvise, Nak snarled. In the chaos, Tyler, Mia, Zach, and half the children scrambled toward the breached wall. The night air hit their faces like freedom. Helicopters roared above, soldiers waved them forward, floodlights painting everything in blinding white. Go, 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 Tyler shouted, ushering the younger ones like a miniature sergeant. Mia tugged at his sleeve. What about the others? What about Commander Nak? Tyler's grin was feral. Then we don't leave them, we finish Operation Booger Monster. Back inside, Daniel fought shoulder to shoulder with Nak. A human and an alien, enemies turned allies by necessity. Trox's voice boomed over the chaos. You fool, do you not see? These creatures are chaos incarnate, they will destroy us all. Nak's mandibles rattled. No emissary, they will outlive us all. Trox lunged forward, striking with a ceremonial staff charged with crackling energy. The blow knocked Daniel sprawling, rifle skittering across the floor. Knack caught the second strike with two arms, mandibles clattering in pain as the energy seared his carapace. "Run!" he shouted at the children. "Run!" But Lily broke free from the soldier holding her and sprinted back into the chamber. "Dad!" Daniel pushed himself up, vision swimming. Trox loomed above him, staff raised for the killing blow. And then Lily hurled her lunchbox. The colorful plastic container smacked Trox square in his largest eye. He screeched, stumbling. Daniel seized the moment, launching himself forward, tackling Trox to the ground. The staff clattered away. They grappled in the dust, human fury against alien arrogance. Knack ripped the staff free, turned, and slammed it into the floor. Energy erupted in a shockwave that hurled guards backward. For a heartbeat, silence reigned. Then Trox hissed, broken but unyielding. "This is not the end. The Alliance will return. They will burn this world." Knack loomed over him, mandibles rigid. "No, they will fear this world." He raised the staff high, then brought it down. The floor shook. Trox's body went still. Outside, the battle reached a fever pitch. Alien shuttles screamed through the sky, pursued by fighter jets. Explosions lit the night like a second sun. The children streamed out of the facility into the arms of soldiers and sobbing parents. Tyler grinned through bloodied scrapes, shouting, "Operation Booger Monster succeeded." Soldiers stared at him like he was insane, but his courage was infectious. Mia clutched her bracelet, whispering, "We did it, we really did it." And Lily threw her arms around Daniel as he stumbled into the light, tears streaking his smoke-blackened face. "I knew you'd come," she sobbed. He held her tight, whispering, "Always." Hours later, under military guard, the alien survivors were disarmed and herded into containment. Knack Vorex stood apart, battered but unbroken, mandibles clicking softly. Colonel Jordan Reeves approached, jaw clenched. "So, you're the one who started this mess." Knack's eye stalks swiveled toward him. "I am the one who tried to stop it." Daniel stepped forward, Lily at his side. "He saved them, Jordan, all of them." Jordan studied Knack for a long moment, then nodded curtly. "Then maybe you're smarter than the rest of your kind." Knack's mandibles clattered in what humans were beginning to recognize as a grim smile. "Not smarter, just a little less blind." Days later, reports spread across Earth. 20 abducted children returned alive. Alien technology captured, the first confirmed contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. Panic mingled with awe, fear with curiosity. And in the corridors of the Galactic Alliance, chaos erupted. Trox was dead. Commander Vorex's defiance was broadcast across networks. The Primitives had repelled the Alliance's first test with terrifying speed and unity. Species that had mocked humanity now whispered their name with unease. In Pine Haven, life struggled to return to normal. The school reopened, though its fences bristled with cameras and guards. Parents clutched their children tighter at drop-off, lingering longer before letting go. Daniel walked Lily to class, crouching to kiss her forehead. "Safe now, Bug," he whispered. She smiled up at him. "Dad, can we keep Commander Knack like a pet?" Daniel blinked, then barked out a laugh he hadn't thought possible. "Not a pet, Lily, more like a very weird friend." That evening, Knack stood under guard in a Pentagon interrogation room. Colonel Jordan Reeves sat across from him, coffee steaming in his hand. "So, your official assessment?" Jordan asked. Knack's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "That humanity is unlike any species we have encountered, primitive in technology, chaotic in governance. Yet, when united by the protection of their cubs, capable of impossible feats." He leaned forward, mandibles clattering in emphasis. "Your cubs are not your weakness. They are your strength. Any species foolish enough to threaten them will not survive the lesson." Jordan studied him, then raised his cup in a toast. "Smart Bug." Knack tilted his head. "Very smart humans." The galaxy would never be the same. Alien worlds whispered of Earth, of the tiny planet that had defied the Alliance not with fleets, but with ferocity born of love. The tale spread of cubs who plotted escape, of parents who faced down the stars, of a species unpredictable and dangerous precisely because they cared. In time, emissaries would come again, not with weapons but with treaties, not with arrogance but with respect. And the galaxy would remember the day it learned humanity's truth. Their weakness was their cubs. Their strength was the same,